Arti this morning, Michal was saying that, Arti is just getting so wow, so wower. So we started coming up with rhymes for that. And so the first couple verses are a communal effort, and I added to it. So life is sweet and sour. Baba, the perfect flower, says now don't be dour. Come to the arty hour, which just gets wower. He has the power to make love shower and turn the glower into happy hour, which just gets wower. All kinds of troubles just melt into rubble, thus all our differences vanish into nothingness. Baba's sweet caress, worry vanishes. A great game of chess for him who loves you best. Life just gets wower. We are his chipmunks, living here amongst Maya's very worst. Witness that time just makes his wine wower. All kinds of troubles just melt into rubble, thus all our differences vanish into nothingness. Life is sweet and sour. Baba, the perfect flower, says now don't be dour. Come to the arty hour, which just gets wower, which just gets wower. Jay Baba.
Come tomorrow morning and you'll hear
You'll hear it again.
Michal must hear it.
And Michal will say, wow, wow, wow.
Wower, wower.
That sounds like a Grammy.
I think it is. Artie Grammy.
It's a Baba Grammy.
There you go, a bobogram.
What do you think, Jeff? Is that great? Or
Oh,
what?
that's beautiful. Angela, do you write that?
We wrote the rhymes communally, and then I wrote the song.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The Mondley would have loved that.
Yeah.
They would have been calling you to sing that there on Mara's porch about every other day.
That would be a delight.
And Mansari would have had you sing it too
Oh, for sure.
at the tomb.
That's great.
We're waiting for your album, though, Angela. So
Oh, the album.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Beautiful, Angela.
goodness. Oh, Ellen is saying, please send me that song. Will you send me? Oh, would the kids sing it? Wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just recorded it, so it'll go up on YouTube.
Okay.
Everyone can learn it.
That's right.
No, delightful.
Oh my goodness. Jeff, that's a hard act to follow.
And Roxy, that was beautiful. Very touching. Your
Oh,
singing. That was really,
Absolutely. I appreciate your compliment.
yeah. Well, you want to hear any quotes? Just to kind of,
Yes, we do.
okay. This is to an early woman follower. Baba said, I am everywhere. But how can we know it? She asked. Handing her a fresh rose, Baba replied, can you see its fragrance? As the fragrance is hidden in the rose, in the same way, my presence is hidden in every heart, unseen and imperceptible.
Yeah.
I have a nice plaque that I don't know where it came from, or it says bidden or not bidden. God is present. That's all it says.
Yeah. Like I say, like on a cloudy day, we say the sun isn't out, but it's there always. This is Mansari. Speaking of Mansari, this was her motto. Most of you know Mansari. Or always be satisfied with his love for you. Never be satisfied with your love for him.
Wow, I didn't remember that one.
Always be satisfied with his love for you. Never be satisfied with your love for him. Keep at it. This is a Rumi. This is the difference between the heart and the soul. If the door of your soul were to be open for an instant, you would see that the heart of every existent thing is your intimate friend. If the door of your soul were to open for an instant, you would see that the heart of every existent thing is your intimate friend. Now we drop back into politics a little bit. This is Winston Churchill. Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And that could be just as well be Bob.
All of our lives, huh?
What was that?
It could be the story of all of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep at it. I have this is a line of of Hafiz that Baba would quote. The majesty of love lies far beyond the reach of the intellect. Only one who wears his life on his sleeve dares kiss the threshold of love. The majesty of love lies far beyond the reach of intellect. Only one who wears his life on his sleeve dares kiss the threshold of love. Oh. Wow. Here's one from Abi Kayar. Roxy probably knows who.
Omar Khayyam?
No, it's ABI apostrophe L and then KHAYR. He's a Sufi, some Sufi saint.
Okay.
Mystic. To bring joy to a single heart has more value than to build many shrines for worship. And to capture one soul by kindness is worth more than setting 1,000 slaves free.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Here are two sayings. The first one is about 2000 BC. Deal with others as you would have others deal with you. Do nothing to your neighbor which you would not have him do afterwards to you. And this is Confucius, 45 BC. What you do not wish done to yourself, do not do to others. So, in case the Christians thought that that Jesus was the only one who gave the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. There were others, or his previous form sometimes, saying the same thing. Here's one. My body is like fine, this is Baba, Meher Baba. My body is like fine gossamer through which the winds of the world freely pass. My body is like fine gossamer through which the winds of the world freely pass. Now, Elowen.
They left.
These kids, when they come to the center, they ride all around on their bikes. and they bring such a joy. I mean, they go around, the three of them. They drive all over, then they drop their bikes, go into the original kitchen or the Lakeview kitchen, get something, and then come out and go continue on their bikes. And Sathi is, he's got a Halloween mask that he, oh wait, no, that's him. Oh, well, we could use it next year. Look at Sathi. Uh-huh. Hey, here's one thing. Does anybody have anything that they feel like sharing? Anything that came up over the past week? I have something from Erich that you might find interesting, but and then hopefully we'll get, let's get Dinesh. Let's see how, I wanted to find out how Dinesh heard of Baba. Knocking at the door of Dinesh. Hello, Dinesh. Ah. Here's what. Well, look at these people. I think you better go to the dentist with all those cavities. Oh, here's Dinesh. Dinesh, do you feel like sharing how you heard of Baba?
Yeah, very much. But I'm in bus traveling.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, but shall we wait shall we wait until you get off the bus?
Oh, can you hear me? I don't mind sharing right away.
Can't hear you clearly, Dinesh. Maybe after.
Yeah, because I'm traveling. Yeah. I'm traveling.
When you get off the bus.
I'm traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's something that you you might find interesting. This is Erich. You know, someone asked about taking Baba's name, and Erich says, well, if you just take it mechanically, that's all right, but taking Baba's name from the heart has real value. But then he says, Erich says, remembrance is from the heart. In remembrance, the heart seeks the beloved's pleasure every moment. And so it is constantly thinking of the beloved, constantly wanting to please the beloved. One has no thought of oneself. Only the beloved's pleasure matters. And in this manner, one forgets oneself completely and drowns in thoughts of the beloved. Erich continued, how can we achieve that state of heart? Often pilgrims ask me this question in exasperation, for they don't know what to do. Well, the way to go about it, excuse me, is that one should, in their day-to-day existence, put into practice all the things that Baba has asked us to do, remembering that would please him if we did so. Now, here's the difficulty, folks. For example, Erich says, when someone shouts at you, abuses you, or tries to humiliate you in some way, we react immediately and retaliate. Why is that? Because we are so caught up in the falseness of the ego that we fail to remember our beloved's pleasure at that moment. For the one who is remembering his beloved every moment and wanting to keep his pleasure at all times would handle the situation with equipoise, undergoing humiliation and effacement of the ego. Why? Because that is his beloved's pleasure. He is aware that it would please his beloved if he maintains poise in all situations and circumstances in life. This awareness of the beloved's pleasure is the driving force of his life, and he fashions his life, keeping his beloved's pleasure at all times. Such a one finally achieves success in getting rid of the false ego by constantly remembering the beloved's pleasure, and finally merges in the beloved. This is what one should do if one wants the heart to drown in him. Once the heart drowns in his remembrance completely, all it sees is the glory and mercy of the Lord in every situation. In the most adverse situation, it sees the hand of the beloved, and the situation becomes joyful. Even in intense suffering, he feels happy. Why? Because he knows that the Lord gives only to those who are close to his heart, who only gives suffering to those who are close to his heart. He gets joy from the thought that he is close to the Lord and that the Lord has found him worthy of gifting him with this suffering. This very thought fills his heart, and his being with joy, and he does not notice the suffering. All he experiences is the Lord's presence, his mercy, and the joy of it. He loses himself completely. That's a kind of a tall order, you know. Reminds me, there was Saint Teresa and her nuns were traveling from one convent to another, and it was horrible weather. It was cold, rainy, and they were going through muddy roads, and the cart got stuck in the mud. And Saint Teresa, and they couldn't get out, and it's surely cold, and they didn't have shoes. They all went barefoot. So she went off to the side and she said, Jesus, we're only trying to carry out your name and bring it to the next convent. Why do you let these things happen? And this is these are the lines that are famous. Jesus said, but this is the way I treat my friends. And Saint Teresa said, it's no wonder you have so few of them. A famous exchange.
Nice.
No, that's the. Hey, so anything that comes up amongst anyone?
I had a question, Jeff.
Yeah.
I was discussing this with a friend of mine, and I wonder if it ever came across you. We were talking about Upasi Maharaj and his chargeman Godavari. And
yeah, charged woman, I guess.
Yeah, a charged woman, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know if she was ever became a perfect master or anything like that? Or
if Godavari Mai did, I don't think she was, but we met her quite a few times when we would go up to Sakori. Sometimes Erich would take us up there, and there was a guy named Minu Barucha that used to. You did? No. She was very peaceful, very loving, very quiet. She wasn't like she didn't have an assertive personality. But whenever we would go up to Sakori, all of the nuns would make a meal for us, and we would eat off of these leaves on the ground. What Jasima, you probably know what kind of leaves those are, right?
Where, Jeff?
we would eat on these leaves. We would eat the lunch that they would make for us off of leaves.
Oh, banana leaves.
Banana leaves?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, oh, good. Jay, you got your son there, right? But I don't know, but she was probably a very great soul, but I didn't hear that she was perfect. And
See,
she,
yeah, okay.
what's that?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just saying thank you.
Yeah. I bet Mayor Chan met her.
Yeah, even I too met her. Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I was young. Yeah, we met her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you went up there. How did you find her?
No, we were going to Mehrabad. So on the way, that was our, I mean, one of the visit we planned, like we went to Shirdi and then Sakori
Yeah,
and then went to Mehrabad. So at that time we saw her
yeah,
in Sakori. Yeah.
yeah. Very peaceful, beautiful atmosphere of that ashram. Hey, Hunter and Bradley, are they there?
Hello. I'm sort of here. It's kind of dark here.
Uh-huh. You didn't pay your rent? That's what happens.
It is. God turned out the lights.
Any kind of thoughts that you've had?
Well, I don't have anything profound, but I have a question.
Yeah.
I always see from the pictures when Baba was at the center, this beautiful little tree that they planted, I guess over by the barn at some point. And I was wondering if that tree is still there, if it lived, or what was happening with the planting of the tree there with Baba. I can't hear you, Jeff.
Oh, okay. There was one tree that was planted in 1952, and it's down between the barn down toward the lake, and it was a holly tree.
Ah.
And it was very small and scrunty after many years, and then this guy named Alex Hamilton got into feeding it, and now it's it was only about after 20 years or so, 30 years, it was only about 5 feet high. Now it's about 15 feet high, just by giving it organic fertilizer.
Yeah.
Now the other one, and what I could see is they did it as a formality. This was in 1956, and they filmed that. And I think that probably Frank Eaton went out and dug up a live oak in the middle of summer, and they put it, and they just filled it in with sand. And I think it was more of a formal sort of a dedication of the center with Baba there. You see Baba, but it doesn't look like it was going to survive. It didn't come in a pot, and there was no water applied. So I think it was mainly symbolic. And that, I'm sure that tree never survived, and no evidence of it. But that was planted out in front of the barn.
Yes, and that's where it looked like, that whole film we watched the more extensive film on YouTube recently, and it was striking. It was powerful how happy Baba was in that whole film as they were planting the tree, as he was looking at the center that his lovers had prepared for him. I mean, just the joy on his face was extraordinary.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what I think Krishna was like. I mean, the playfulness of Baba, the aliveness, and the humor and the slightly mischievous, the way he was, especially with the dancers. He played all sorts of tricks with them, the ones who carried him around in the lift chair. So yeah. Oh wait, no, that was 58. Yeah, no, 56. So Bob was very, very, it's a beautiful, there are 3 films of that, and they're quite beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, I've mentioned this before, but no, I'm thinking of another time, 52. Well, I'll mention it. You know, we have these experiences with Baba. We all have, where we feel, you know, Baba is there present with us. Some, you know, an isolated moment during the day, and it feels like he's there and all that. Well, and Darwin Shaw was Baba asked to come down in 1948 to help develop the center. And at that time, it was so swampy that you couldn't get in from the highway into the center. That all that swampland had to be drained. And so Darwin was working with some engineers to drain it. But at the end of the day, he was there for a year in 48, and he would go over to where Baba's house was going to be built. It was staked out at that time, and he would go to a place on the bluff and look toward India at the end of the day and think of Baba. And he kind of felt Baba's presence, you know, in this moment, the time he would spend there at the end of the day. So he did this kind of unfailingly on the times when he went into work. I mean, after work. And so then we flash ahead to 1952. And Baba, on one point, Baba called for the Shaw family to come to his house and be with him. So a car was sent and they came over. And when they got to Baba's house and went through the gate, there's Baba right there outside the screen porch. And they came up and he opened the door and the family went in. And Darwin was the last one to come up the steps. And as he was going up the steps, Baba pointed to that place, just very, very cavalier, you might say. He pointed to that place. And Darwin said, Baba, you're reminding me of how I used to come and sit there and think of you. And Baba kind of just wiggled his head like that, you know, kind of bland. But that's where Baba confirmed that all these little moments we have with him are known to him. You know, so it was kind of a beautiful. So Darwin used to say, don't underrate or think that those are imagined. You know, they are actual experiences, and there Baba confirmed that to him. Yeah.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. You got to go cook the dinner there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jasima, you have any questions at all or anything that comes up?
Right now, no, Jeff, I am not prepared.
I got a good question. I got a good question for Hunter and Mayor Prasad, if he comes, shows up from behind the veil. There. Okay. What do you say? What's the difference between Baba's will and Baba's wish? How would you describe that? That's for you too, Hunter, if you can. There's Baba's wish and there's Baba's will. How do those fit in?
Well, I have no understanding of it, but I can share the questions I find myself often asking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I Yeah, and so none of these questions don't pretend to represent Baba's the truth of anything that Baba says, but I find in his, when I read all of the writings that he gave us, all the things he said about his wish and his will, it helps me to make sense of suffering. That everything that happens is within his will. Not a leaf moves, but that he wills it, or an ocean wave rolls. And at the same time, a lot of things happen in this world that aren't his wish. Whenever I'm hard-hearted, whenever I'm myopic and don't see outside my self-interest, in all of those moments, I am not acting according to his wish. Whenever I place my own interest over anyone else's. And so when I see suffering happen in the world, and I see what's happening with the pandemic and everything else like that, I can see that all of that's within his will, but that Baba weeps in us for the pain that we suffer. That although it's his will, it's not his wish that we suffer the way we do, but the choices that we make that break our own hearts 1,000 times, that in those moments, we're not acting according to his wish and his pleasure, even though it's within his will and it will bring us to him in the great game eventually. So I find a lot of help actually and comfort in the distinction between those two, because I can find a God of compassion in his wish, and I can find the God of law in his will. And it helps me to understand a little of how those dance together, but very, very little.
No, beautifully said, beautifully expressed. Yeah, I agree. I'll see what Mayor Prasad, we're going to get a view from Seattle.
Well,
Can we?
I have a couple of things to say to that. One is what Mani used to say about Baba's will. She said that, free will and Baba's will. She used to say that Baba's will is like this, where you get into a train and the train will take you to a destination. You cannot change the route, nor can you change the destination. But the compartment that you are in has some people in it that will come and go. And the way that you interact with them, the way that you act on the way to your destination is your will, which means that acting, what you do on the journey is according to, if you're able to do it according to his wish, that's his wish. So the way you act is his, depending on how you act, it can be according to his wish or your wish. But the train will take you, the destination and the route is his will. And the second thing is, the message, I think the three messages, I always remember one of those gives a best example, which is it goes like, whatever life holds for you is an act imparted by me in my production of the universe. And you can act best if you are happy in my will. So that acting part is what is where his wish comes into picture. We can act according to his wish or our wish, but the will is what is unfolding for us in life. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think, going, well, anybody else have to chime in on this? No, I agree. What Hunter said there, I always think that Baba's wish is anything we do that has love in it. And like you said, when love isn't in it, you know, if you insult me and I strike back at you, that's kind of the law of karma. But if I, you know, if I respond with love, then that's Baba's wish. And Baba's wish is like a category, is a one part of his overall will. It's a nice an aspect of that. But I think of, if we just go with his will, that's like being on a local train going across creation. And you have to stop at every stop along the way, every karmic stop along the way. But if we try to be loving or please Baba, then we're on the express train. You know, I don't know if that's another way of looking at it, but that's beautiful. That, I mean, Baba did say those 6 things about his wish, but I think anytime we're trying to please him and try to be loving rather than reactive, we are doing his wish. We're to whatever degree we are able to do it. But, you know, going back to what you said, Mayor Prasad, that was that had to do with in some ways predestination and free will. And I once asked Darwin how he came down on predestination and free will, and he said, "What do you think?" So I came up with various terms, and the one that he signed off on was spontaneous predestination. Now, what does that mean? Spontaneous predestination. Love was in existence before creation. So it is free. And predestination, basically, you might say, and Darwin liked this, it's like the film of the world is all already been shot, but it's in black and white. And through putting love into it, we put the color into the film of creation. So otherwise, if we don't put love into it, then it just stays black and white. If we put love into it, it becomes a technicolor. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's it combines free will and predestination in kind of a less of a fatalistic view of that. So we have the choice to put love into this. We could be arguing right now. And then, we put red into it, or we can put gold into it. Anyway, that was a thought that I had.
Yeah, Jeff, like love is something, it's a gift from God, right?
Yeah.
So can we practice, I mean, like until unless we have that gift, I mean, can we try to practice that love ourselves and without his gift?
Well, I think if you try to be loving, you'll draw Baba's grace and love. You know, just try. Even if we don't, even if we don't have the ability, if we try, I think of it like, say, two people that are in an argument, and they're philosophically so different that they'll never find any common ground or harmony. But they keep trying to, try to bridge this gap, and they don't have any success. Baba looks at it, is so touched that he makes it happen. He makes the impossible, because they're trying fruitlessly to harmonize, but they don't have the psychological tools to do it. But their effort can draw Baba's grace, and he can make it happen. Yeah. So if you try, even if you don't have any ability, if you try, the love will come. That's it. That's the fun for him, I would say.
Thank you,
What
Jeff.
do you
That was perfect. Yeah.
what do you think, Hunter? I mean, I'm sure you find that in your life. You know, whenever you've tried and everything, sometimes the love eclipses you.
The love eclipses me. You mean?
Yeah, it eclipses your little melodrama out front.
Oh,
And you feel that love comes through when you didn't really seem to have the ability to respond lovingly to a situation, to someone, but you tried and the love came out of nowhere.
oh, I have absolutely no capacity to be loving on my own. I'm far too chaotic and rebellious and angry and reactive. And but again and again, Baba will have me see something in the other person, some strength or some beauty or some grace or some light or some tiny moment of patience that I wouldn't have any capacity to see, or will give me a thought
Yeah.
that surely did not come from the momentum of my own consciousness, but some thought that um, I don't even realize where it comes from until it's already been spoken. All of that.
You're fading out a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, all of that can only come from him. Um, I was, I remember once I had the opportunity. This was probably one of the first and most extraordinary examples of love happening completely despite me. But I had the chance to sit with somebody who had committed a lot of violence and sent a lot of people to the hospital. And I was I was sitting with him and I was supposed to help him. I was put in the role where I was supposed to be of help to this person, knowing the things he had done in this life and the violence he committed. And he even said to me, you're not going to change my mind about anybody. And he listed all of the groups of people that he hated. And he said, you're not going to stop me from hating them. And I just sat there quietly. And this thought bubbled up that from somewhere, from Baba, um, I saw how much pain there was on his face when he spoke of his hatred. And and I said, well, how about this? How about you get to leave here hating just as much as you came in? But I got to ask you a question. I said, it looks like it hurts a lot to hate that much. Like it looks like it really hurts. And he began to sob.
Wow. Beautiful.
And he said how much how he would get a hateful thought and it would not let go of him for days. And so I said, well, let's just work on that. Let's keep every opinion you have, but let's see if we can make it hurt less and get them to let go of you a little faster. And where any of that came from in that moment.
Beautiful.
So afterwards, I just, all I could say is, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because it came from some other place besides anything I had to bring to that moment. And since then, I've come to trust that if I just slow down and I let go of being me when I'm with somebody, whatever my project is or my agenda or what I think should happen, whenever I just take the tiniest gesture to let go of being me in their presence, Baba gives something else.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's what I say, kind of being eclipsed by Baba. Lovely. Wow. And what a beautiful way so fundamental that it brought him to tears. Yeah. Yeah. I once was in Mandalay Hall. I mean, this is semi-related. I was once in Mandalay Hall and I said to Erich, we all know how Baba treated Bao Kalchuri. He would ignore him for weeks on end, find fault with him. He could never do right. Uh, it was very difficult for him. How did Baba treat you? What was your, day-to-day relationship with Baba? And Erich got very serious. This was in Mandalay Hall. He kind of looked down. He said, Baba was always very good to me. I had self-knowledge. Inside, I thought, Erich, what are you saying? But instantly he said, I knew that I was a scoundrel. And whenever I did anything wrong, I knew. And I would look over at those all-knowing eyes of Baba's, and he knew. So what was there to say? Now, he was the least of a scoundrel that I had ever met. But he knew, basically, left to his own devices without Baba, he would be a selfish person. But because Baba, he was receptive to Baba, Baba could eclipse him quite regularly. And that's what we enjoyed in Erich, Baba coming through him. But he wasn't being flippant when he said, I knew that I was a scoundrel. He wasn't being cute. I mean, that was his true assessment of Erich the ego. It's always, looking for its own advantage somehow. And Baba overrides that. Makes us, much more loving. Yeah. Wow. Here's something that I read earlier, and I'll read just a part of it. This is a play. This is what Erich says about drowning the heart in remembrance. Once the heart drowns in his remembrance completely, all it sees is the glory and mercy of the Lord in every situation. In the most adverse situation, it sees the hand of the beloved, and the situation becomes joyful. Even in intense suffering, he feels happy. Why? Because he knows that the Lord gives it only to those who are close to his heart. He gets joy from the thought that he is close to the Lord and that the Lord has found him worthy of gifting him with suffering. This very thought fills his heart and his being with joy, and he does not notice the suffering. That's that's the postgraduate level with Baba, I mean, I feel like if I could tolerate all sorts of physical and mental and emotional suffering, if I could live with it, I would know that it was all Baba's will. I mean, that it's all Baba's love. If I could experience these things fully and not retreat from them or not repress them, if I could experience them straight up, full on, all the mental suffering, the emotional suffering, the heart suffering, and the physical suffering, if I could accept that and not turn away from it, I'm convinced that I would see that it is all Baba's love. That's the challenge that Erich was saying there. In all adverse situations, in situations of great suffering. And Priya can do that. She does that regularly. Nothing touches her. Unlimited poise.
Jeff, I have
So
a
not
question.
the case these days. But please go ahead. Sorry, Mayor Prasad.
Go ahead, what?
Sorry, Mayor was saying something. Please
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, I can wait.
Yeah, you go ahead, Priya.
I'm struggling these days a little bit. I'm finding it very difficult to strike a balance in life. One is this life with all the Baba lovers and Baba, and it's a different way of being and relating to people. And then one is the world outside of it. And they are not always meeting, Not that I expect them to meet all the time, but I think it is somewhere also impacting the relationship I have with some of my very close and intimate, people in my life, be it family or close friends. Just seems like we're speaking different languages.
that that is completely understandable, and it happens where you are not really known. I mean, where you're coming from, you're not really known. I mean, unless you find someone who's a lover of God, who's loving God the way you are, even if they're not devoted to Baba, but it's a sad thing. Now I remember, you know Ramakrishna, who was a perfect master in the late 1800s. Now his early followers were all of these very orthodox Hindus, and they were very very strict and followed all the rituals and ceremonies and everything. And Ramakrishna was a perfect master, and he was trying to be with them. But what happened after a time is he would go up on the top of the temple, or whatever it was, Dakshineshwar, and he would pray to God, even though he's a perfect master. God, send me my boys, send me my boys. I mean, he, even a perfect master, he was longing for someone to share really who he was with. And then eventually Ramakrishna came, Vivekananda came along. His name was Narendra. All these college students started gathering around Ramakrishna, and these were the boys he was calling for, and they understood him for himself. They weren't coming toward him as a religious figure. They were coming to him as a spiritual figure. Now, this is a perfect master who had a great longing for somebody to share his real life with, and so if a perfect master has that problem, it's understandable that you're going to have that problem. I mean, Baba said that the highest, one of the high roads of surrendering to God is to live in the company of lovers of God and render them wholehearted service. But where are you going to find someone that can understand you as you know yourself? Someone who understands the life that you are leading, because even though you can have a nice kind of give and take of love with people, but there is that part of you that longs to have somebody who understands that in you. Is there any, where do you go in Goa?
What does that mean? Where do I go?
I mean, is there a place? I mean, there's probably not a Baba group in Goa.
No, not that I know of.
That you know of, or something like that. But having somebody that you can really connect with at a deeper level is completely understandable.
I hear that, and I think I have found that here, the circle of friends. But it's just that I've had a life. The last 35 years, I've had some relationships, close friendships, bonds. There's history there.
Yeah.
And now with Baba, you're always operating from here, you know, from kindness and compassion. And it's just love. That's the answer and the question to everything. But that's not how it works for most people. And I think I'm just at a crossroad where I wonder, and I've heard people say that you outgrow and, you know, you grow. And if people don't grow with you, then, you know, you let go. It's just,
So
and
your
Baba
circle of,
says, remain rooted in your life, like, you know.
now is your circle of friends, do you feel that they don't quite really understand what you're up to?
No, it's not about whether they don't understand, and I don't expect them to understand. But it's like even a conversation about something, just how you approach it could mean so many different things. Even
Yeah.
when we talk about forgiveness, right? I mean, thanks to Baba, it's just so easily accessible, no matter what the wrong was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I forgive. And that just, you know, it's like the heart is open and the world just doesn't operate from there. So I'm just
Yeah.
finding myself very alone.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you or any one of you have had that struggle since you've
Oh,
been. And
yeah. I mean, luckily I've been around Baba people a lot, but I had periods where I was a stranger in a strange land, you know. But I had to translate Baba into the language of psychology. It took years. I mean, for in the language, ordinary language, it had to bring it the all of that in a language that other people understood if I wanted to connect with them. And that's I had to work on that. Otherwise, if I talked in Baba's terms, they would roll their eyes. I had that. I mean,
yeah,
they couldn't get it. So I had to learn whatever language they spoke and speak Baba about Baba. I mean, speak about the love of Baba in that language, you know. And that is not easy to do, but it's a valuable thing to learn, you know.
that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. But it took years, you know. But now I don't have to do it so much because it's mainly Baba lovers I'm around.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, Jay Baba. Good, a good question.
I have to chime in here
Yeah.
for Priya. Hi, Jay Baba.
Oh, good. Hey, yeah, and while you're there,
Watch out
she
now.
has got great translations of Hafiz. So anyway,
I wanted to say that I was in your shoes for so many years. Even though we had a Baba Center in Chicago and a small group of people that I would interact with, like we are now, with the circle of friends, although I'm in Myrtle Beach now and surrounded with Baba community. I wrote many a poem about my struggles in the cold, harsh world of Chicago, where nobody spoke my language. And yet over the years, I found Baba lurking around in unsuspecting places and, you know, just unsuspecting circumstances that came to life. And learned to, you know, through my poetry, just kind of render those situations into Baba moments. So that helped me. Jay Baba.
yeah, yeah. Anyone else to chime in on that? I bet Marion has something to say to that.
Hi, everyone. I've been a fly on the wall, so doing some Woden imitation tonight.
Yeah. Aha. Let me put, ooh, yeah, look at that. Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, can you read a Hafiz?
Would I dare show my face and not have a Hafiz ready for you, Jeff?
I'm a junkie.
Yes. Go on and I'll pull something up.
Yeah. Okay, the second. Hunter, she does excellent translation. I mean, excellent translations of Hafiz that you can actually understand. And she read it in the original, and she's from Iran, and they're very. It's well worth it. She has a real knack, because I've read a lot of Hafiz, and I'm left confused about what's being said.
Let's see. I just picked the last one I've done, hopefully. It says it needs to be reviewed, so I'll just read what I have.
Yeah.
That arc your playful brow tossed into the arrow, intended for the life of this weak and lamentable soul of mine. Drunk and flushed, you walk through the meadow. Your beauty has cast a fire onto the Judas tree. Love existed before the creation of the two worlds. It is not from this time that love came into being. The amaryllis attempted to seduce with its coquetry, but the allure of your eye threw 100 intrigues in the world. Last night, I was passing through the meadow, became drunk when I saw a rosebud and thought that it was your mouth. The pansy was flaunting its beauty, tying knots in its wavy tresses, when the morning breeze brought the fragrance of your hair and put her out of business. When I likened the face of the jasmine to your face, from shame, it took a handful of dirt from the breeze and put it to its mouth. When I followed the righteous path of religion, I had no care for wine and song, but now I am drawn to these things owing to the irresistible charm of the sake. I now wash my stained prayer robe with the water of wine. This has been my fate from the beginning of time. The solution to Hafiz's dilemma is drunkenness and disrepute. His destiny has guided him to the wine of the master. Now the world is finally to my liking, since the spin of time has brought me into slavery to the master of the world. Jai Baba.
Read those
Finished
last.
it, John. It was
Read
beautiful.
those last 4 or 5 couplets.
Acha. How quickly she closes the Word document. All right, let's see. I now have an image of Baba on the screen. Oh God, sorry about that. I closed it too soon. All right, here it is. The last 2, or which one?
About the last 4.
The
after the amaryllis.
All right, after the amaryllis. The solution to the last 4 stanzas or couplets or whatever. They're both
couplets.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when I followed the righteous path of religion, I had no care for wine and song, but now I am drawn to these things owing to the irresistible charm of the sake. I now wash my stained prayer robe with the water of wine. This has been my fate from the beginning of time. The solution to Hafez's dilemma is drunkenness and disrepute. His destiny has guided him to the wine of the master. Now the world is finally to my liking, since the spin of time has brought me into slavery to the master of the world. And doesn't this really speak to what we're talking about, is to find him in the world? When we find him as our master, he comes to us in very unexpected ways if we look for him. And if we have him in our hearts, he's there. In the smile of the cashier, the banker, the person strolling along, picking up their groceries, just a small act of kindness, a smile, mischievously pulling down your mask just to wink at him and smile at him. I don't know, I do these silly things.
There's a Sufi line where he says, to the pure in heart, the world is pure.
Beautiful.
Read one more.
Oh, Baba. All right, let's see.
Well, Priya, you come give a number between 1 and 100.
69.
69.
69. All right.
She's translated about 125 out of 600.
Incredible. And Jeff, it's amazing how you can demand this from Farishte. I'm always standing, waiting for someone to ask her. Thank you. Thank you both.
All right, here's 69. In these times, a friend who is devoid of corruption and harm is like a jug holding pure wine or an anthology of ghazals. I'll read that again. In these times, a friend who is devoid of corruption and harm is like a jug holding pure wine or an anthology of ghazals. Walk the path alone, devoid of attachments, as the doorway to eternity is narrow. Hold a cup in hand as your precious life is without a second. Not only am I not sad for inaction in the affairs of the world, the blame of the learned also stems from inaction of their knowledge. With the eyes of intellect in this tumultuous passage, this world and all its affairs are temporary and in vain. My heart was plenty hopeful for union with your face, but death is a bandit of hope on the journey of life. From their ancient fate, the face of those with black luck does not turn white by washing, and that is an example or a parable. Catch a hold of the fallen hair on the beloved's face. Don't read a story. That good and black fortune is determined by the effect of Saturn and Venus. I have no idea what that means. Every structure you see is subject to destruction, except for the structure of love, which can never be destroyed. They will not find Hafez sober in any age, since our Hafez is drunk with the wine of the first cause.
Wow. Wow. There were a few parts in there that were a little hard to understand, but overall.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
there were a couple of on the intellect there, but still, boy, beautiful. Hey, Diane and Terry are here. You went to Sunday school and you're back.
We just saw these great little videos. One was of Mani telling about how she got her driver's license.
Oh, yeah.
That's delightful. And another one was a movie about was it a Dooney day, like kind of life in the day of an afternoon Dooney.
Mm-hmm.
That was about 15 minutes. It was really lovely too.
Yeah. That were taken some in the years after Baba, or
no, during Baba.
Okay, 1954 probably, where Baba, yeah.
He had like so many garlands. I didn't know how he was going to even be able to move.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was beautiful. She, the Hafiz.
Yeah.
Brought to our very door.
And one more thing, Priya, and others. I started really thinking about what Baba means by real happiness is in making others happy. And honestly, it's the formula for happiness. If you can render anyone, doesn't have to be a Baba lover, doesn't have to be a spiritual person, anyone, the smallest act of service or kindness, that's something meaningful.
The Dalai Lama says, "My religion is kindness." Beautiful.
Especially now, where, the atmosphere is so tense and everyone's so scared, and, we got to be thinking as much positivity as we can muster.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're doing a garden patch in Myrtle Beach, a community garden. And that I'm finding that that's one, other than doing art and poetry and all the other stuff, that just getting out there and getting my hands dirty in the soil is going to do a lot for my happiness and service to community, really. So bring your bushels for our tomatoes and potatoes and kale and whatever we're going to grow. I don't know. Jeff, you're the grower.
Yeah. There was one of the old followers of Baba, couple that lived here. They lived into their 90s. Stella and Ralph Hernandez. And they were gardeners. They lived down in Tampa. In fact, when they heard about this perfect master, who was going to come to Myrtle Beach, and Stella would say, well, we'll get to go from Tampa up to Myrtle Beach. It's a resort town, and he doesn't speak, so it's not going to take any time, and we'll go out into Myrtle Beach, the city. But when they saw Baba pass by, the coloring of Baba's skin was like nothing they'd ever seen, and they were completely spellbound, and they never lost any opportunity to see Baba. But Ralph used to say, if you want to be happy for 2 hours, get drunk. If you want to be happy for 2 weeks, get married. If you want to be happy for a lifetime, become a gardener. They were really great. They were organic gardeners as well, this couple. He used to say that he was kind of a great sense of humor.
That sounds great.
Hey, we got Alan though. Alan, we haven't seen hasn't come out from behind Baba.
Hey guys.
Uh-huh.
How you doing?
All right. Well, and and Dinku is back.
I think.
How's Rocky?
Hi, he's doing much better, thanks.
Oh, good. Beautiful. Yeah.
I thought I saw a baby sleeping. Who's that?
Well, with me?
No, Eloan.
Oh.
The kid, Eloan.
Yeah. Elowen and her brother, Farron, and Suthi, her older brother.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's after their bedtime. It's 11:17.
We don't actually really have a bedtime.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You guys just
Sometimes I'll read until sometimes I'll read until like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
The
Wow.
babies.
Yep.
Where are they from?
Elowen, you tell them where you're from.
Nashville.
Looks like Farron, though, isn't staying up tonight.
Nope.
But Sathi is still moving around. So any stories or anything that comes up? I'll tell you one, something that Bao Churi used to say. A father and son were going to be heading to a distant village, and they went and they set off, and the son was on the donkey and the father was pulling the donkey along, and they passed by this village, and they say, "Look at this, you know, like they got this donkey here, and the father is sitting on the donkey, and the son is sitting on the donkey, and the father is pulling the donkey. What kind of crude people are these?" You know, so they kind of feel embarrassed, and they move along, and they come to another village. But what they do is now they put this son on the father's on top, and the son is pulling the donkey. And they come by this next town in the village to say, "Look at this. What kind of thing is it?" I mean, the father is, you know, up there comfortable on the donkey, and look, he's got his son pulling him. Oh, what kind of people, you know, what kind of people are these? And so so what they do is they both get off of the donkey, and they both pull it. We come to the next village. Say, "Look at these people. They have a donkey. At least one of them could ride." You know, and they're just both pulling the donkey. I mean, these people are like fools. And then they go to the next village, and I think they both get on the donkey. They come to the next village, and they say, "Oh, look at these people. Well, look at the abuse that they're, you know, showing to this donkey. This is terrible. 2 people on a donkey." And the moral of the story is, you will not be able to please the world. You'll never be able to please the world.
That's true. It's very true.
You can try all these different combinations. It just won't work. Bao Churi used to say, "With Baba, you don't have to renounce the world. The world will renounce you." So, Dinku, anything there with you?
Nothing really. Just been busy with Rocky and other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm getting back, so I managed to get on to this morning.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's your morning. Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, so Dinesh, I wonder, Dinesh, did you get off of that bus?
Say Ganesh.
No, Dinesh.
Oh, Dinesh.
Dinesh. He was going to share his story, but when we got, he happened to be on a public bus traveling, so he couldn't exactly tell his Baba story.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just reached home.
you're at home now?
Jai Dwarkadhish. Yeah, I just reached home.
Oh, well, you take your time. We'll get you next
Yeah,
week.
just reached home.
Okay.
Okay, if you desire, I can write away also.
Well, you want to, why don't, you want to do it next time?
My bed is low, but if you desire, I can do right away also or next week also, not a problem.
Okay. We want to hear how, okay, well, let's hear how you heard of Baba.
Yeah, on 14 July 2007, I first went to Meher Baba's Samadhi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
We are able to hear you, Dinesh.
I belong to, I come from Osho background, and I heard Osho speaking on Meher Baba often, and then I'm a part of one school, spiritual school, fellowship of friends. This is based in California, and they believe that their school is having blessings of 44 conscious beings.
Wait
And
just a
Meher Baba is
second.
one of them. And many of, yeah.
A little, where you're breaking up a little bit. Huh.
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now properly? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that school, fellowship of friends, they believe that their school, that is a spiritual school based on Gurdjieff Ouspensky.
Yeah.
So they believe that their school is having blessings of 44 conscious beings, and Meher Baba is one of them. And many of those people are, in dire love with Meher Baba. And through that school, first we went to Meherabad. Until then, I was knowing he was born in Pune, and also spoke well on him. So first time we went to Meher Baba Samadhi on 14th and 15th July 2007. And seeing Samadhi, it was love at first sight. And we were a group of people, and our leader had booked in MPR. So I was sitting in the Samadhi, and they went out and they went away. I came out, I couldn't see them, but I was so engrossed in the meditation. I again went in and sat without worrying about what will happen about my food and where will I stay. It was afternoon around 12:01. Yeah. So it was really means it love at first sight. And when I went to MPR, people were thinking I must be annoyed with them. They left me alone and there. But I was so happy. They couldn't believe that. How can I be happy? I should have been annoyed with them because they left me and went to MPR without taking me. But I was so happy, so happy, so happy. No complaint. But it was very good. So it was love at first sight. And after that, I didn't look back. After that, I had been going, and I have many experiences also. My daughter is in USA. When she was going to USA, we took whole family there, and she was to be posted somewhere else. But when we were at Meherabad, she received call from her office. This Patni Computers, which became iGet later on, then which became Capgemini later on. So she got call from them that your place is changed from that to Greenville in South Carolina. That is Baba's state. So it was Baba's grace. She was posted in Greenville, which is just 3 hours journey from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Was that Greenville, South Carolina, or Greenville, North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and seeing Baba, something कुछ होने लगता है. something happens within the heart seeing Baba. So I rose in the love of Baba.
Beautiful. No, we call him Gustaji. He looks like Gustaji.
And
our modern day Gustaji.
what did you say? Yes.
What's that? Yeah, I heard you. I might
You
have
said something, Ustad.
What's that?
Gustaji. You look like Gustaji.
Gustaji.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I read Tears of Joy.
Yeah. Yeah, you look like
I
you're...
read Tears of Joy where three people pleader, Krishna, Gustaji.
Yeah. Next time we'll get you to tell your story again when you have a better audio.
Okay, I will repeat it. It will be a pleasure repeating.
Yeah, next time I'll ask you again.
Yeah, okay. It will be my pleasure, and I will add something more to it next time.
Yeah, good.
Right. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Dinesh. Jai Baba. Yeah. Wow. Well, let's see. Have we got Marinaz is there and Alan. Shireen's fire. Huh. Hunter, you got any stories? Anything that comes to mind?
I was reflecting on what a few people were sharing about loneliness and longing for the company of the lovers of God. And one of the ironies of my life is that I work in the gay community where a lot of people have been wounded by God language and religion. And so all the time I'm working with people, helping them recover their own spirits. But the one thing I cannot talk about at all is God.
Yeah.
That language. And so you were talking about put in terms of psychology, and that helps. And still there is this longing for the company of Baba's lovers that that goes unmet in that act of translation.
Yeah.
And so what I have to do, the thing that another one of those moments that just sort of was Baba speaking in me, was that the loneliness itself was his gift. And I remember one night I was really heartbroken over something. And the words that came out spontaneously were, Baba, please let this loneliness bring me back to you. If this is all I have right now, this loneliness, if it's all I have, then you're going to have to make use of this loneliness to bring me to you, because it's what I have. And so I just gave myself to it, and I gave my end and let it take me to Baba. The other thing that Baba has given me is when I feel lonely, my normal tendency would be to collapse into self-pity and make it into a story about something that's just happening to me. And when that's happened and I start to feel the gravitational pull of my own self-pity grabbing hold of me, there's this moment where it's like a window is thrown open, and I see that there are millions of people who, beyond millions now, billions of people who are desperately lonely in this moment, that we are as a species experiencing this loneliness as Baba's gift to us together. And in the moment that that window gets thrown open, suddenly my loneliness, instead of being something that disconnects me,
right, beautiful, yeah,
is something that Baba has given me to connect me to every other human who is sharing that experience at this exact same moment. and my loneliness becomes something that connects me to other people. As paradoxical and baffling as it is,
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
sense of connection is profound even in that.
Beautiful. Yeah. No, that's lovely. Yeah, that loneliness connects you with the loneliness of others, and so that you know what they're experiencing, and you come out of your loneliness by expanding, into the hearts of others. Beautiful. That is so true. I've found, I mean, kind of connected with that, all of the selfish and unkind and hurtful things I've done in my life. Baba has turned that into empathy and compassion for others, rather than into a bad self-image. It's connected me to my fellow beings. I've done that. I did all of that. I understand, and I can't. I don't feel critical or judgmental, because I know that I have done those things. I don't know if I don't know. I've shared this at one point. There was one time when I did something terrible, back, way back when, and the effect of it, the psychic effect of it, was such a shock on my head that I felt like I was wearing a football helmet. It completely changed my life. And I went to India one time, it didn't change. I went the second time, and still in this state. I asked Eric, should I tell what I did? And Eric said, no, don't tell anybody what you did. So you're not going to get to know that. But on the second trip, I was sitting in Mandalay Hall. Everybody had left Mandalay Hall, and I was sitting beside Eric. And I said, Eric, why did this happen? It has really created such torment for me. Why did it have to happen? And he looked over at me and he said, now you can't hold your head so high. And I knew, yeah. That's why some of these things happen.
I guess these things happen because they really force us to take a good look at ourselves,
Yeah.
what we are, and then help us to change and overcome it.
Yeah. And connect us with others.
Yeah. The empathy factor comes into being then.
Yeah. Yeah. And Baba makes sure. I mean, Baba used to say his method is, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You make some progress, and then you fall. Then you make some more progress, and then you fall. You're doing well, you're being loving, and then you blow up at somebody. And Baba said that in that process, your ego, your pride is getting annihilated as you go along.
Yeah.
It's, and a lot of spiritual groups, sometimes they just go, they progress and they progress and they progress and they progress, and their pride goes on increasing with their progress. And they look at other people and say, Hunter, where's that guy at? He's not spiritual at all. But that's kind of the way Baba's method. I mean, it's, you kind of wish it wasn't that way, but he knows exactly what he's doing. But not like Alan, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. No.
Hey, I was just reading about that discourses.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this part right here where Bob was talking about, you know, for a car to reach its destination, its ultimate destination, it is not enough merely to have a driver who can work and manage the engine. It is equally necessary that this driver should be able to direct the car towards the destination. So I think in this part, he goes on to talk about like, oh, geez. He goes on to talk about how like, for us to kind of get uninterested in the unimportant things in life, the shifting of the center of interest from unimportant things to truly important values is comparable to the transference of power from the ignorant driver to the driver who knows the destination. And the way to dissolve this addiction to basically driving our cars in circles is to rely and surrender to the master ultimately. And that for me, for some reason, you know, you hear it a bunch of times, but I read that today in the middle of work and I was like, wow, you know, like it's just everything that I'm doing it's just, yeah, you know, everything that's happening, it sometimes I can easily forget or try to willpower my way through a lot of things, and it brings more suffering.
Yeah, and Baba is, to whatever extent we're aware of it, he is taking over our vehicle. The more we give ourselves to him, more we think of him. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the road isn't kind of rough.
Yeah.
That he has to drive through. But
yeah, that's for sure.
But he is really, I wish we could actually see just how much he has taken over us. You know, I mean, if he, you know, you could really see, you know,
I don't know.
I mean, I've mentioned this too before, but Erich used to say this one time. Baba asked the Mandali, 3 of them, to deliver a message to a saint called Kirpal Singh. He was a 5th plane saint. And they had been on the road and they were kind of unshaven and poorly dressed and everything. They're a bit rough. And they get to the place where the saint is, and he's giving darshan. There are thousands of people there. He rarely ever gave darshan. He's giving darshan, and everybody, when they go for darshan, they bathe and they wear fresh clothes and everything. And they're way at the back of this crowd of people, embarrassed about being there. And now they've got, Baba asked them to deliver a message to Kirpal Singh. So they're kind of like sheepishly standing there at the back, wondering what to do. And Kirpal Singh gets off the dais, walks right through the crowd and everything, grabs the 3 of them and pulls them into his ashram and has tea ordered and asks, well, what do you have to say? And they convey Baba's message. But the thing is that they wouldn't, the Mandal, the 3 Mandal, that was Erich and maybe Gustaji and Baidal, they had no idea that Baba was driving their vehicle. But a saint could actually say, this is like, these are diamonds in the rough right there. They could pick them out of a crowd of 1,000 people. So we don't know what's happening under the hood. Yeah. Lanita, what you got going there?
I'm needing a vest for a friend of mine.
A vest. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm listening and knitting.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Anything else there, Alan?
Well, let's see. I think I think one thing that I thought about today in particular was I know you'd mentioned and I've also attempted and I've heard other people talk about giving everything over to Baba, like the negative and the positive and the good and the bad, the ugly, everything. And I guess today I was just wondering in my own self, like, how is it that I do that? Or what's the way that that functions inside of me to do that? And yeah, I didn't really have an answer. There wasn't really I just kind of was sitting there and I don't know. I guess the only thing that I could describe it is like to stop stop trying to push things or pull things in any direction and relax in my chair or something. I don't know what the word is. It's just like not physically relax, but like inwardly relax my heart from trying to figure things out so badly. And that was a way to kind of drop things on his lap in a metaphorical way, I could say.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. In that stillness, you're dropping into, I guess I would say in that stillness, you're dropping into his being.
Yeah.
And anything that you've got on you gets dissolved.
Yeah, it changes course. It's like I can feel the difference when I'm really becoming aware of when my mind is racing and I'm basically choosing to kind of be like a ping pong ball and just like and just like go from one place to another, and the whole day becomes exhausting. And like one thing will come up and it'll be like something that I've handled 100 times or something before, but like it'll be one little thing and I'll be like, oh, that and that too, look at that, it's piling up, people. It's like I can't handle it. Like it's just like it seems like like too many things and it's unbearable. But then when I have that moment to sit and relax my heart into him, then then it's just not the same. It's not the same way of moving through life. It's not the same. It really is not the same. It's very painful when I can feel almost like it's almost like the sanskaras or there's the strong forces can bend my will or bend the way I would have rather thought of Baba in that moment, or I would have rather done this. It's like it just feels like I'm like, nope, you're gonna just do this now. I'm like, oh God. Like I know the consequences, but then I still get pulled. I can feel the pulling and the pushing, and I can't stop it. But it's also there's less worry about like, well, I'm not gonna get out of this type of thing. That doesn't come up anymore as much as like, I'm not gonna be able to get out of this one. I don't know where Baba is. It's like, well, he's just, this is what you want. I mean, I don't know what I want, but he's just there.
Yeah, I mean the mind, there's like a pendulum. It's swinging back and forth, but the swing gets less and less.
Yeah, I hope so.
It definitely. I had this, I had this image. I don't know if you were here when Baba flashed this image to me about thoughts. And if you imagine your consciousness there, and in front of you is this conveyor belt. And on this conveyor belt, thoughts are going by, but they're going by in the shape of wrapped boxes. The boxes are nice, colorfully wrapped. Mm. And so one comes, there's a big box, and you take it and you put it on the table of your consciousness, and you rip it open and everything, and you find, wow, there's another box inside of this. You take that one out and you open that and everything. There's another box inside of that. Oh, wow, you take that and there's another box inside of that. There's nothing in thought when it's not in the service of love, when it's not a vehicle of love. You know, it just, I mean, I like I say, I followed thought to the end of the bus line thousands upon thousands of times, and it just dropped me off out there, way out of town. But it seems like, oh, wow, no, this is colorful. This thought is great. Let me open it. Let's see what there's there, you know. And you go in there and you get in there and you tear it open and it's another box. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and when the more you kind of realize that it's empty, the less you're attracted by thoughts. Thoughts have this promise, but it's they can help you with practical things, but they can't help you go to your soul. I mean, they're like, it's like trying to see with your nose. It can't be done.
Yeah. I think sometimes when my thoughts get so hazy that I can't, like sometimes it seems like it gets so hazy that I can't really do much of anything except to physically maybe even pick up, you know, the discourses or something, or like for my mind that helps a lot, because it's almost like it just it puts something back in, like in my brain, my thoughts in a different order. It's just really, I mean, sometimes that's all I can do, like, because my mind is like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, anything that any way you bring into Baba will kind of like diffuse a lot of it. This was the one quote, Farishte, this is one, were you here when we read this from Hafiz?
Not sure.
This is that Baba quoted. The majesty of love lies far beyond the reach of intellect. Only one who wears his life on his sleeve dares kiss the threshold of love.
Yeah.
The majesty of love lies beyond the reach of intellect. But so the intellect isn't the means of getting to that love. I mean, it can, I mean, on itself, it's not going to get to love, but it can help you, it can help love. It can carry out what love wants, but yeah, my early time, oh, see ya, Lanita. But before Baba, I was really looking at from my head. You know. Hey, so anyway, if there's any last thing, oh, I got one last thing to read. And then what do you think? Unless there's anything else, I'm going to read Rumi.
Let me just ask something.
Yeah.
Farishte, I'm gonna call you to I want you to let me know more about this community garden.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
So,
good night.
So this is a nice poem going into a meditation. This is Rumi. He says, last night I learned how to be a lover of God, to live in this world and call nothing my own. I looked inward, and the beauty of my own emptiness filled me till dawn. It enveloped me like a mine of rubies. Its hue clothed me in red silk. Within the cavern of my soul, I heard the voice of the beloved crying, drink now, drink now. I took a sip and saw the vast ocean before me. Wave upon wave caressed my soul. The lovers of God danced round, and the circle of their steps became a ring of fire around my neck. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Any last minute things? Marinaz, love to you.
Hey, Bobo
I have to
Jeff.
say they organized an incredible meeting of Persian Baba lovers commemorating my Tehran Baba link just a couple days ago, and talk about Ring of Fire. It was outstanding. I didn't even realize that this gentleman had poems, and the one they read was truly comparable, if not exceeding Hafez, because of Baba's presence in it. So
Wow.
anyway, it was lovely because it had Persian Baba lovers from Iran and Canada and Europe and America, and about 55 people gathered.
Beautiful. Wow.
It was incredible. I was on fire. I'm still on fire from it.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you, Marinaz, for.
Well, see if you can get a hold of that poem.
I have it. I have it, and I'm going to translate it.
Yeah, good. That would be nice.
It's just beautiful.
That's great,
Well,
Frisch,
folks,
that you can do that. Awesome.
So we're coming up to Amar Tithi, right?
Yeah.
What day of the week is Amar Tithi?
30th and 31st is the two programs from the trust office.
Yeah.
It starts at really strange hours, like 2 a.m. Eastern time, and goes on for a couple days, really.
Yeah. What day of the week is Amar Tithi?
Over
Sunday.
here, the 31st.
India, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is
Sunday.
30th and 31st is Sunday.
Sunday, okay. Yeah.
Here
Indian,
we have
Indian.
on Saturday at
And
10:30.
here, Sunday, 31st is Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, I don't know if they've published their schedule yet. I keep looking for it, but it's going to be 400 videos that were sent. They accommodated every single video that was sent. So we're in for a very big treat.
Yep. and here's how Baba feels about all of you folks.
Aw. Oh, yeah.
That's the man. Well, anyway, folks, wonderful. I'll hopefully see you on Sunday. And
thank you for holding
yeah.
these, Jeff. Really,
Yeah.
it's much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. I mean, and you guys all help, and don't hesitate to bring anything to share or ask questions or whatever. Because people, I mean, people tell me they listen to these things. I mean, people from other countries, I mean, and they follow it. They know all of you folks.
Oh,
It's
wow.
funny. They say it's like I mean, they know all of you individually, and they follow it regularly. All the kind of stuff we're talking about here.
Yeah, they
But
don't even
especially-
have to stay up to watch it because it's on YouTube.
Yeah, they get it. But any of the kind of struggles in drawing closer to Baba is very helpful to other people to hear about. Alan, you're good about sharing that. And Priya, you bring these things up, and these are things that are shared by the whole Baba world out there.
Jeff, if you would like to know about the timings of Amartiti, may timings of Amartiti, it's Sham, Sham Sundar. It is Saturday 30. Time is 12:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time to 3:30.
Yeah.
12:30 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. And
Yeah.
before that, silence 12 noon to 12:15 p.m. India time.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong because the silence mistakenly typed as on 30th. Baba's
Okay.
dropping was violin on 31st. It should be read as 31st, 12 to 12:15.
12 to 12:15, yeah.
And 31st,
Then next
not on 30th.
Sunday 7 a.m.
Because program
3 a.m.
itself starts at 12:30 on Saturday. And everybody, every Baba lover knows that Baba dropped body on 12:15 on 31st. So silence will be from 12 to 12:15.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's posted in the various, sites. And good. So maybe I'll see you folks there.
Well, we're all gonna bilocate over there and we'll be at the
Yeah.
Samadhi at 12.
Sham, I hope you're there. We'll look for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
12 to 12:15 on the 31st.
That's right.
Okay, much love, all of you. Jai Baba.
Good night.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.